Hello, welcome to GeoBuiz Live. As the whole region goes into opening the aperture and charting the new paths with Geo in 2015 conference round the corner, we have a guest in our studios in London, Mr. Jordan Furr, Vice President Strategic Communications and Marketing USGIF, the organizer of Geo in 2015 conference. Jordan, welcome to the studios.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Geo in 2015 is round the corner and everybody is excited about it. Can you just let us know what Geo in 2015 is about and how USGIF has come to organize this conference?
Sure. So the Geo Symposium started in 2004 when USGIF was founded back in January 2004, and it's grown from a small gathering of geospatial intelligence professionals in what was then a sort of an unknown community, an unknown tradecraft of geospatial intelligence. It has really grown into its own over the years as geospatial intelligence has become almost ubiquitous to the location data that we have in our phones, to GPS in cars, to people ordering Uber and knowing exactly where they are and where they want to go, route planning, to the things that we traditionally used in military and intelligence settings and where USGIF's roots were to support national security as it related to geospatial intelligence. But the symposium, along with USGIF, has grown over the past 10, 11 years. And now the symposium is much more than just geospatial intelligence. It's about defense, intelligence, and homeland security, but also about the consumer segments and new technologies and advanced analytics. So while GIS and imagery and the other pieces that make up geospatial intelligence are still certainly a part of the symposium, it's a much greater audience now. And that's reflected in opening the aperture, charting new paths, talking about reaching a wider audience, taking a larger view of how geospatial intelligence is used. And it's also reflected in the number of attendees that we've had, going from a small group that got together in New Orleans in 2004 to just before I came over here to the studios, we had 4,500 registered attendees for the symposium that begins Monday.
Okay, fantastic. So it's moving from the core Geo in community to the larger goals of geo intelligence and security and safety aspects of the community. Definitely, it's a wonderful journey for USGIF and Geo Int conference. But I understand all this while the conference has been conducted in Florida and Tampa, and this is the first time the conference is being organized in the national capital. Can you tell me why?
Sure. So this is the first time we are in DC, and we're very excited to be in the Washington, DC area. We have so many federal agencies and employees and attendees that come from Maryland, Virginia, Washington, DC, that bringing the symposium here allows so many more people to be able to experience the symposium. We started in New Orleans. We've been to San Antonio, Texas, Tampa, Florida last year, Orlando, Florida, Nashville. But DC exposes us to some audiences that might not have the travel funds to take a week or a day to get on a plane and book a hotel and come down to a place outside of where they normally conduct their business or where they work and live. So opening the doors in DC allows so many more people to experience all that the symposium has to offer. And to take that a step further, we've even made one-day passes for our general session and our exhibit hall this year. So even if you can get out of the office for only one day, you're still able to get to the symposium at a good cost to come down, experience the 290 exhibiting organizations that are in our hall, or the more than 200 speakers that are on the agenda over the course of the 4 days. So there's a lot to offer. And if you're military, government employee, first responder, it's complimentary registration. So there's no barrier to entry in terms of a price to get in the door. So
Okay.
we're hoping everyone comes down.
I think it's a fantastic choice to be in the national capital, and it attracts a lot of guests to the event as well. So moving to the event agenda, what has in store for the visitors and the participants this year? What's special about this year's program?
Sure. So we have a couple different things on the agenda that we're really excited about. First, on Monday, we have our Geo and Forward agenda. Geo and Forward is the pre-symposium science and technology part of the symposium. We have over 100 speakers on that day alone. So it's going to start out with some student poster sessions, students from a variety of USGIF accredited colleges and universities, and some USGIF partner universities and colleges, showcasing their work in poster sessions during the breakfast time. We'll move into an agenda with keynotes and panels and discussions and some real good tradecraft discussions. So that's going to be a very exciting day that ends with a networking reception and lightning talks. So out of our 230 members, we opened a call for presentations, and we picked out some really great lightning talks. So we'll have a couple company organizations up on stage with really quick, brief, and bright presentations to talk about some of the really innovating things that they're going to do, all during a networking reception. So you'll be able to hear some innovative technology, hear what some companies are doing, and get to do some networking as well on Monday. When the general session in the exhibit hall opens Tuesday, we have a great lineup of keynote speakers. They're all available to be seen on our website, which is geoint2015.com. But we also have breakouts and training and pilot testing that we're doing for a new universal GeoInt certification that USGIF is launching. We'll be offering 2 of the exams at the symposium, so people will be able to sign up and take pilot exams. And if they pass, that's one of the steps to getting that certification. So if they pass the pilot exam, that will actually count when we go live with the full exam. And we have more than 80 hours of training and education throughout the week. So in the mornings and afternoons, you can earn continuing education credits or units, CEUs, throughout the week. So you can sign up for some training, get some information during the keynotes, visit the exhibit hall, and then each evening we have networking receptions. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone.
Fantastic. A little bit of everything for everyone. Yeah. What about the keynotes, keynote presentations this time?
Sure. We have some really interesting keynotes. We have the directors of NGA and NSA and NRO, for Robert Cardillo, the director of NGA. This will be his first time as the director of NGA speaking on the GeoInt Symposium stage.
Yeah, I remember Tish Long speaking at this conference last year, and I was very impressed about it.
Yeah, she's fantastic. So I think Robert will have a lot of interesting things to say on Tuesday morning. We also have the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, who's making his 11th appearance at the GeoInt Symposium.
Wow.
So that'll be very nice. We also have Stan McChrystal, who retired as the former commander of ISAF and now co-founder of the McChrystal Group, really works on teamwork and taking what he learned as a 4-star general and applying that to businesses and organizations in the government. So he'll be able to share with our audience, what it takes to really be innovative and to be more effective as teammates going into the future. He'll be doing a book signing. He just released a new book, Team of Teams, last week. It's available on Amazon, or you can buy it at USGIF's GeoInt 2015 Symposium, and he'll be doing a signing on Tuesday afternoon. And I think some of your audience might be familiar with Robert Kaplan. He wrote a book a few years ago, The Revenge of Geography, and he's going to be a keynote speaker on Wednesday afternoon. We've also ordered some copies of his books that attendees can purchase after his keynote, $15, and he'll be there to sign them. So the keynote speakers are varied, as you've heard, and I think they'll present a really good overview of what geospatial intelligence is, how it's being used, what it means to them, but they'll go beyond that as well and talk about, for instance, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, Robert Work, will be there, and he'll be talking about acquisition reform as it relates to the defense community. Why? Not just geospatial intelligence.
Okay. The exhibition forms a core part of the entire event, and how many exhibitors and what kind of exhibitors are expected this time?
We have 293 exhibitors at last count, and that's over 100,000 square feet of exhibit space. So we're very excited about the number of exhibitors that we have this year. There's some new exhibitors, some small companies, some startups, small businesses that are going to be there. We have a small business pavilion that focuses on those companies that are qualify for the Small Business Administration's designation of a small business. We have some really innovative and startup companies that are new to the space and maybe new to geospatial intelligence, but have been doing location-based work or location analysis or analytics and really applied to the space. We have a variety of government agencies that'll be there. DHS has 3 of its components, which will be exhibiting at the symposium. And we have some of the larger players that you're familiar with. Almost all of the USGIF members that you see on our website are going to be exhibiting there. And academic institutions as well. Some of our accredited universities and partners, we have 12 accredited universities and colleges now. Some of them will be there, and some of our other academic partners will be there as well. So opportunity to see so many interesting services, solutions, and technologies on the exhibit floor. We open the exhibit hall floor at 10 a.m. and it closes at 5 p.m. with a reception on Tuesday and Wednesday. And Thursday we have a shorter day. We're going to be opening at 10 and closing at 3. And we have a family day going on the exhibit floor too. So if you're thinking about coming down on Thursday and you want to bring your family and show them a little bit about the interesting things that you do or what you're interested in, we're opening free to families of registered attendees on Thursday afternoon.
Okay, fantastic. One of the quite interesting and engaging side events are the networking receptions. Yes. So how are they shaping up this year?
Sure. We have some great networking receptions. So I mentioned the Lightning Talks networking reception on Monday evening. On Tuesday evening, we have a networking reception at the Carnegie Library at Mount Vernon Square. So just out the front door of the convention center, there's a wonderful grassy area and a beautiful building, the Carnegie Library there. We'll be taking over that space for our opening welcome reception. So everyone that's registered for the symposium is welcome to attend. We'll have great food and great music, and we get great turnout for that. So during the day, you might be taking notes of what you hear in the keynotes or attending training sessions, but the networking receptions are really an opportunity where you can relax,
to
connect, right, do business, and meet new people.
Yeah.
So in addition to the daily exhibit hall networking receptions that we have in the hall, we do have a couple opportunities outside the hall as well where you can relax a little bit. That's one of them. And on Thursday afternoon, we're actually going to the Nationals ballpark to see the Nationals play the Atlanta Braves at 4 o'clock. So we have about 500 baseball tickets, and we've sold about half of them. There'll be more on sale during the symposium. So another way to connect with your colleagues, talk with them, get to know these people and their families perhaps.
And build a rapport as well.
Exactly.
Over baseball.
Exactly.
Interesting. Another key feature which I have witnessed last year is the awards and recognition to people who are really contributing to this community.
Yes.
So when is it scheduled, and what do we expect in the award ceremony?
Sure. We have 6 awards that we're going to present on Wednesday morning during the general session between 2 of the keynote speakers. We will Kevin Jackson, our awards program coordinator for the past several years, actually since the awards program really began, Kevin has led this group, and he and his volunteers that review and select the award winners have really made some tough decisions this year. I mean, every year the award applicants get better and better and better, and it becomes more difficult to select the winner, because really all of them in many ways are deserving of reward. So we'll announce those on Wednesday morning.
Okay, we look forward to. Okay, one last question I have for you, Jordan. What is your personal highlight? What is your personal best that you're really looking forward to in the next 1 week?
My personal highlight of the next week. For me, it's the exhibit hall.
Okay.
I come from a journalist background focusing on technology. So getting around to the exhibit hall and seeing all of the different technologies and solutions that are out there, and seeing how companies are trying to apply their products or their technologies and solutions in new and exciting ways, that's what I love. If I had to pick one thing, I mean, the entire symposium every year wows me, and that's what we try to do for the attendees, is we try to raise the bar a little bit every year. If we're wowed, we hope our attendees are. And having come from a place where I covered the event and attended the event in 2004 and 2005, to becoming the now working at it,
I get it.
It's an interesting perspective. So it all excites me, but certainly the exhibit hall and seeing what all of our exhibitors and members showcases.
I think definitely with the 100,000 square feet of exhibit hall and 293 exhibitors and an engaging and exciting agenda to look forward to in the next 1 week, I'm sure GeoIn 2015 is going to be a busy week for all the GeoIn professionals and the larger community, geospatial community as well. So looking forward to an exciting time at GeoIn in DC area. We sign off from here. Thank you, Jordan, for joining us on this live show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Thank you.
We have several initiatives started. The overall policy approach is the strategy which we called Europe 2020 strategy, focusing more in general terms on innovation per se. But below that, if you like, we have several initiatives. The most recent one, for example, is now the new strategy on the creation of a digital single market in Europe, as we have an internal market for physical goods, but not yet for digital goods. That's a very important initiative. We have, as a consequence of that, unfortunately not enough ICT companies like in other regions, so we have to do more and to speed up more the uptake and to create the framework conditions for these companies to be successful. We have, in this context, therefore, also a new initiative started on better regulation, by which we want inter alia also to remove the barriers to innovative products coming to the marketplace. And we have, not recently, because the program is already since more or less 18 months in function, we have a new research program called Horizon 2020, which in comparison to the past is now covering the entire innovation chain and not just focusing on the technology readiness level 1 to 3, but further towards the market. So with this package, if I may say, we try to facilitate the uptake of innovation and to create better environment for innovation in Europe. Digital market, as we don't have in Europe not yet the infrastructure, for example, which we would like to see. We have, to some extent, here and there, white spots. So we have both. We have also to roll out the infrastructure, high-speed internet, for example, in addition to that, what I mentioned earlier on. We have much more applications to our first calls than we have expected. This demonstrates that the program has touched upon, let's say, the mood. Of course, such a big success leads in the end to a heavy oversubscription, so we don't, unfortunately, have enough money. And by that, the success rate has lowered, what is particular nasty for companies because of the upfront investment they would have to make. So here we have to see how we can, let's say, modify the process, maybe with one towards two-step approaches or two-stage approaches. The issue is the program is well accepted. People like the simplification efforts we have done, but we are victims of the success. Geospatial data, like other data, are the source of a lot of potential business opportunities and new businesses per se. So we have, on the basis of the free and open access to data which we provide in the geospatial sector with our Copernicus program, we see things are moving, but for the time being, I have to admit that there is still, or this potential market is still a niche market. So we have to help our industries to grow. We need maybe with PPPs to work better together with them. So there's a lot of potential. In parallel, the digital single market will also help, but we need how to bring this together. And the answer is, from a European perspective, maybe not as easy. There are several issues in this context which we have to think about. A first element is that innovation became only recently a big topic at European scale. Secondly, in Europe, some societies at least are to some extent risk averse. This is also something what needs to be changed. A third element is we need for innovation the appropriate skills, both in the workforce, but also in general to societal terms. And of course, the point you made is very important. We need to be innovative, much more prepared to leave respective silos, to integrate, for example, the societal dimension better in it. If we want to accept new technologies, we want to facilitate the acceptance of new technologies to be clearer. There are a lot of elements which have to work together, but I think what is striking now in Europe is that there is also at the political level now a clear-cut agreement that without innovation, Europe can't cope with the challenges ahead. We have already 10 years ago or 15 years ago established the 3% research and development expenditure as percentage of the GDP established. It's a long way. Some member states are better than others, I have to admit. Some are already above, some are close, but some are, let's say, still far away from it. So in a common effort, we have to bring them all towards this as our competitors, having similar objectives and are sometimes faster in fulfilling them than we are. Well, there's a lot to be done both at the EU level but also at the national level. For example, we see in some member states of the EU that researchers are not as well paid as in comparison researchers in other parts of Europe, and even in comparison to wage levels which might exist in those individual countries, which facilitates, of course, brain drain from the weaker countries to the stronger ones. As long as the brain remains in Europe, from a European scale, that's not bad. but it doesn't help this country. So we need to help those countries lagging behind in increasing the capacity and the attractiveness of a place doing research, as well as those member states concerned have to invest more, and this is a political decision. We have, particularly over the last framework program, invested, I think it's 280 million euros in research projects contributing to the objectives of GEO. We are also now putting more emphasis on how we can better influence the political level on Earth observation issues, because as one of the objectives of GEO is, and this is absolutely shared by the European Commission and my DG, to contribute to better policy making, we need to attract the political level to make use of it. And to make use of it, we have to demonstrate what the advantages for the political level are to base their decisions on those data. One of the main elements in this context are the societal sustainable, the societal beneficial areas which we have in GEO, which are more or less linked to the sustainable development goals which we have in the UN context. So this is interlinked, and we need to focus stronger on those. In Europe we speak about societal challenges, so we have one problem, that we have slightly different headings for sometimes the same issue. And to bring this together and to make clear what it is about is important, and we need both within the EU but also within GEO to focus more on those elements, because after GEO in 2005 was established, there is also a shift in the societal beneficial areas in terms of their political priority, and we have to take care of that. I think there are several elements which have to be taken into account. One is visibility, to be attractive. Another one is, if we look particularly towards the political decision making, it is the credibility of the data. And GEO has this unique advantage that we all participants share that data. They are open, they share that. This is important to get political acceptance. Beyond that, of course, we have also to work much more on making the data easily accepted and accessible, because we have so different organizations participating and contributing to the system, but to make all the data comparable, for example, is a huge work. And here we need to discuss further how we can assure this better availability of global data and not just regional data or national data. These are challenges which we have to face now. I think GEO is a good example, and at the European scale we have with Copernicus and Inspire same principles established, that this kind of data have to be freely accessible and they have to be open, both for political reasons, for acceptance reasons, but also to make really use of them. And this is one element which contributes probably most to these, let's say, objectives. Another element is, of course, how bring we then this data, once they are collected, made comparable, also back to the citizen, that he can use it. This is also a challenge, because here we need to integrate the private sector. But of course, we have to see what are the framework conditions for the private sector to, let's say, do these businesses. So there are several interactions which we have to discuss, and where we have to find the best way to achieve our objectives. Our research program, which is, let's say, besides the Copernicus program, the biggest components by which we support geospatial research and activities in a broad sense. Horizon 2020, this research program, is open to everybody in the world. By that, we can take, let's say, care of problems which are outside Europe too. We have also, I think, as I mentioned, a number of flagships. We have invested, I mentioned already the figure of 280 million over the last years. There's a lot what Europe can offer, and from also my personal contacts, I see that, particularly for the developing world, Europe is a very solid partner in helping not only to define the needs, but also to help the developing world to tackle its needs, which are sometimes similar to those we have in Europe, or which have, if we don't tackle them together, will have repercussions for Europe too. So in this regard, our investment is at the same time helping the developing world and is appreciated there, but also is in our own interest that our citizens realize that in helping the developing world, we can also reduce or minimize risks, threats, and by that having a return on these investments. And I think this is one of the most fascinating functions Geo has, and where we as Europeans can contribute to help together and to find solutions which at a global scale can improve our world. There is one element what we are trying now in this program, also with other programs. We try to attract citizens to share their own observation, mainly in environmental terms, and to get by that a better databases, which once collected facilitates also policy making. So in, let's say, doing this kind of activities, citizens themselves can contribute to have better policy making and to have better data available, which affect in the end their environment themselves.
Hello and welcome to GeoBytes, your daily roundup of news from geospatial industry. I'm your host Bhanu Rekha. For the next 15 minutes, I will bring you the news of the top developments across projects, products, policies and business. But first, let's have a look at the top story on this show today. NASA has come out with global climate change projections till the year 2100, which are highly disturbing. NASA has released a detailed view of future temperature and precipitation patterns around the world at a 15.5-mile resolution. The dataset is simulated by 21 climate models. It predicts that carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere will more than double in the next 75 years. Currently resting at 400 parts per million, carbon dioxide levels will go up to 935 parts per million by 2100. If that happens, much of Africa, India and South America will have to endure punishing levels of heat on a daily basis. Scientists had earlier warned that the glaciers in the Everest region in the Himalayas could also completely vanish by 2100. NASA Chief Scientist Ellen Stofan believes that the new global dataset would help people across the world in planning how to cope with a warming planet. The dataset will help governments and organizations make contingency plans for heat waves, droughts, floods, and losses in agricultural productivity. Interestingly, a draft of Pope Francis' letter to the world's Catholics was leaked by an Italian newspaper earlier this week, and it reports that the Pope believes that the climate change has put us on the path to not only destroy creation but humanity as well. In the United States, Vice President Joe Biden expressed concern about climate change on Tuesday. He said that even the climate deniers are preparing for greater impacts from more extreme weather. He said that the changing climate will drastically affect local security and local economies. Another important development coming from NASA concerns the personal and commercial use of unmanned aircraft systems or drones. NASA and the Federal Aviation Administration are developing a UAS traffic management system for low-altitude airspace. This safety system is required to make sure that drones don't collide with buildings, airplanes, or one another. It should be noted that technology giants like Amazon and Google have plans to launch their own UAS applications. The UTM needs to be in place before these and any other commercial efforts take flight. NASA is working with several partners to build the traffic management system for drones. Currently, more than 100 organizations are lending their expertise to the project. Moving forward, measurement technologies provider Leica Geosystems is partnering with 3D design developer Autodesk. The alliance seems to be simplify reality capture and BIM-to-field layout solutions. This should come as a good news for professionals involved in laser scanning and building construction layout markets. Jürgen Dold, president of Hexagon Geosystems, of which Leica is a part, is excited that this development has come at a time when the construction industry is growing and adopting 3D solutions. He believes that customers and resellers will benefit from having access to a broad range of options for reality capture and field layout. Amar Hanspal, Senior Vice President of Autodesk IPG Product Group, affirms that it is an exciting time to be in the AEC market. This is what he has to say.
I'm Amar Hanspal from Autodesk. By integrating Leica's high-quality, world-class measurement technologies with Autodesk's building information modeling, reality capture, and layout technologies, we're ensuring that our customers have access not only to the latest technologies, but the latest and most accurate information at every step of the construction process. This is going to streamline the construction process and get rid of erroneous information, wasted time, and lost productivity in the construction process. I am thrilled to see us take this step forward, and I'm looking forward to seeing this make a huge difference in the industry.
Reports are coming in from another alliance in the geospatial industry. Two GIS specialists, FireWatt and Geospatial Solutions, have merged to form the new FireWatt. The company will focus on rapid emergency response, water infrastructure, and irrigation mapping solutions. The new entity will operate from 3 offices in the western United States, Redding and Dunsmuir in California and Bend in Oregon. AOL-owned MapQuest has announced that it is entering into a partnership with Mapbox. MapQuest will invest in Mapbox's entire suite of mapping applications and services. As a part of the commercial agreement, MapQuest will be able to tailor Mapbox's highly detailed maps according to its client's requirement. MapQuest will also plans to roll out several updates for its apps and developer tools. It aims to make its website faster and more responsive. It also wants to give its urban users new tablet and mobile experiences. Also on the business front, Smarter Better Cities has closed a $1 million seed funding round. The round was led by Smart Investor Climate KIC and Zuko Cantonal Bank. Smarter Better Cities plans to use this investment to grow in the US market and to expand its customer base. The 3D Web startup current clients include the state of Oregon, Harvard University, and the city of Zurich. The software company aims to bring affordable smart 3D city solutions to urban planning. It also wants to cater to new market segments like real estate and facility management. Smarter Better Cities develops its products on Esri's ArcGIS technology. We are now going to slip into a short break, but when we return, we will take a look at the regional news.
Introducing eCognition Essentials, a powerful land cover mapping solution. An all-in-one software solution that's intuitive and easy to use. Remember that steep learning curve with object-based image analysis? Well, it just disappeared. With eCognition Essentials, you can get straight to work in 4 easy steps. First, import data. Second, create and classify objects. Next, edit and check results. Finally, export a GIS-ready layer of the final classification. Use predefined workflow blocks to analyze your images. There are many tasks you can do. Create your image object and classify it into grassland, forest, or water, and many others for land cover mapping. Or create your image object and classify forest cover in different tree heights for forest mapping. In agricultural mapping for yield assessment, analyze vegetation, crop types, and health status. Reduce complexity and add real value to your business. Easily extract actionable information for image classification in forest, agricultural, or land cover mapping. All you need to get started. eCognition Essentials.
Welcome back. EOMap Asia Pacific has launched a detailed dataset for the islands in South China Sea. The dataset was generated by satellite-derived bathymetry techniques. The islands of the South China Sea are surrounded by water deeper than 1,000 meters. They are thought to hold extensive oil and gas reserves. But data around the underwater topography are outdated or are not accessible. So, instead of relying on acoustic or airborne methods, EOMAP has used satellite image technologies to map over 250 islands, atolls, cays, skulls, and reefs. It has also proved to be a faster and cost-effective solution. As Mittal, CEO of EOMap Asia Pacific, has assured that the organization will continue to monitor the areas for changes and provide detailed reports to anyone who subscribes to their monitoring services. The data are available in a 15-meter bathymetric grid. You can also request for data in a 2-meter grid. Water depth up to a 25-meter contour line has been mapped. From South Asia, Reports are coming in that the Government of India plans to monitor the country's heritage sites with the help from the Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO. Data from Earth observation satellites Cartosat-1, Cartosat-2 and ResourceSat LIS-4 will be used for creating a database on heritage sites and monuments. 3 management zones, namely protected, prohibited and regulated, will be delineated around the sites using GIS tools. All land use features within each zone will be precisely mapped. Other collateral data like total station survey data and cadastral maps will be georeferenced and integrated with the satellite data. Apart from this, other data like the ground photographs, street view of the buildings and lanes, open spaces will also be part of the database. The government is also developing smartphone-based applications to allow citizens to geotag and upload data. In another development, the Dutch government is joining forces with the cadastre to defend land rights in developing countries. Development Minister Lilian Plumont says that in many countries, no one is sure what belongs to whom. This causes conflicts and funding problems. Plumont believes that registering land rights properly will foster food security and economic growth for everyone. The government will train local surveyors and land registry staff in modern methods of certification. In Rwanda, the Dutch Land Registry has already helped map out 10 million plots and issued 8 million certificates of ownership. This reduced the number of disputes over land ownership from 100,000 to just 5,000. Tanzania's land registry has also shown interest in Dutch expertise, and currently a team of Dutch experts is in Mozambique to help issue 5 million land use certificates as quickly as possible. And now, an update on Sentinel-2A, Europe's next Copernicus satellite in space. Sentinel-2A is being readied by Airbus Defence and Space engineers for a liftoff on June 23 from Kourou, French Guiana. The Copernicus Sentinel supplied remote sensing data for environmental monitoring. Sentinel-2A will deliver optical images from the visible to short-wave infrared range of the electromagnetic spectrum. From an altitude of 786 kilometers, the 1.1-ton satellite will deliver images in 13 spectral bands with a resolution of 10, 20 or 60 meters and a very large swath width of 290 kilometers. The optical design of the multispectral instrument has been optimized to achieve state-of-the-art imaging quality. The data gathered will be used for monitoring land use and changes, soil sealing, land management, agriculture, forestry, and natural disasters. That's all we have for you in GeoBytes today. Find us on www.geobiz.com and follow GeoBuiz on Twitter. We'll catch up with you soon with yet another exciting program on GeoBuiz. Until then, bye-bye.